And just come to a stillness, a place where you can come and be just a little reflective about what your intention for practice is today. What brings you to the mat? What brings you to the community? And maybe as you think about that, you swell with some gratitude. Notice your breath. Notice any holding or tension in your body. And then just gracefully in your own way, just make your way to your back. Have your blocks with you. And we'll just start with a little bit of movement. So soles of the feet to the floor and some very gentle windshield wipers. Knees right, knees left. And just invite you to allow this movement to morph itself into something else. So maybe for you, it's a full moving side to side, or maybe it's a more of a twisting and holding, or maybe you stack the knees over your hips and take some circles. Just allow whatever comes up to come up. Pretty organic. Maybe you would like some cascading bridge, where we lift the hips and allow the spine to unfurl one vertebra at a time. With just a few more minutes there. And then you're going to find Tadasana on your back. So my feet are about hip distance apart, and I have some engagement in my feet. So press through your big toe mounds. Imagine that you're standing on the floor. The soles of your feet are bright and alive. Toes are spread. Legs are engaged. Pelvis nice and level on the floor. Turn your palms up, tuck your shoulders underneath slightly, and tuck your chin in slightly so the back of your head presses against the floor. So now from heel to the back of your head, you should be getting lots of good information about your Tadasana. So some of the things we're looking for are the hips level. Can you feel the same pressure, right buttocks, left buttocks? Are the heels pretty evenly pressing into the floor? Resting on the floor. Then moving from your sacrum up through your back body, sacrum touching, low back away from the floor slightly, mid back touching, all from right to left, the whole mid back touching, then a little space underneath your cervical spine, your neck. So that's the sort of natural curvature of the spine. Shoulder blades are tucked underneath. So here you should be able to flatten your shoulder blades. Feel your whole shoulder blade making contact with the floor. And then right in the center, the back of your skull, spread that area wide. Chin is tucked in slightly. This is our blueprint. We're going to play with this in all different planes, on the floor, on our back, on our side. Okay, so now just release the super intentionality a little bit, relax a little bit, and then bring your right knee, bend your right knee and set it over kind of your mid-abdomen. So you're in a lunge. This is a lunge on our back. Okay, then you can take that leg long and bring your left knee and set it over your abdomen. So knee is bent. So we're in a low lunge. The leg that's long, the right leg, keep that leg, that the toes pulling back, both feet actually, toes are pulling back towards shins. Go one more time on each side. Really feel when you get this information from the floor. The floor right now is our biggest prop. How does that feel? How do you feel in your back? Pelvis level? Same connection to the floor in the back body? Great, cool, okay. Now come back to Tadasana. And you're going to take your blocks on the lowest level and set one block on one palm. And you have to be a little tricky getting the other one in place, maybe hold it against your thigh. And you'll have both blocks resting on your palms. And let's start with the arms extended straight up towards the ceiling, shoulder width apart, holding the blocks. Legs are in Tadasana, back body's in Tadasana. We are in plank. Plank on our backs. Now bring your blocks behind your head about 45 degrees. Arms stay straight. Downward facing dog. Just feel and get the sense of how the rest of your body has to work to maintain the blueprint, the home base of Tadasana, when we move into a different shape. Let's come back to the plank. Okay, now we're going to bend our elbows, and the elbows come right to the low ribs. So the blocks come down above kind of your midsection. Chaturanga. Chaturanga Dandasana. Okay, let's slowly press back up into high Dandasana or plank. Go back to downward facing dog. Back to plank. And all this movement, really slow movement, is for you to feel and really connect to the Tadasana shape, and then Chaturanga. Great. Now let's extend the arms straight up towards the ceiling again. Bring the right knee over the right hip. So bend your right knee in towards your chest. Okay, so now we're in lunge. Call this high lunge. We're pressed up completely. So kind of memorize this shape. Body memorizing this shape. So we don't have to do as much proprioception or figuring out where we are in space when we have our back to the floor. Switch it up. Take the left leg in. And back down. And then you can just take your blocks over to the side now. come back to Tadasana with the palms up. And hopefully you didn't have to shift too much there. Okay. All right, let's look at a couple other shapes we do standing. So you can bring your legs in towards midline and then slide your right knee out or left knee out to the left as if you're going to bring your left foot to your thigh in Vrikasana, tree pose. And then you can just slide it back out. And then slide your left knee out to the side. You don't necessarily have to have the foot and the leg connected, but this is the Vrikasana shape. Try it with the right side. See if the hips can stay level, pelvis level, body in Tadasana. It's just Tadasana with one leg, right? As you bring one leg into the Vrikasana shape. Great. Okay. Now let's lift the left leg up towards the ceiling. If you can come to 90 degrees, great. If you can't, just you could grab a strap or you could just have your leg a little more pointed towards the end of your space. But here we go. Bottom leg, leg on the floor, toes pulled back, top leg, toes pulled back. Vira 3. Warrior 3. Release. Let's try the other leg. So you don't need to bring it any closer to your body. Don't make it a forward bend, but 90 degrees to the floor. Toes pulled back towards shins. And we are in Vira 3. Hips are level. Right? Hips are level. So this is a great place to start with some of the harder standing postures. Just on the floor. You could have a strap on your foot if you needed to give it a little encouragement in towards that perpendicular alignment relative to the floor. And you can lower that leg. And now we're going to roll to one side. Resting your head on your bottom arm and put your body in Tadasana on your side. So feet are stacked. And I know you can't see your back body, but in your mind's eye, line up the back of your heels with the back of your sacrum with the back of your head. If you need to use your top hand for a little balance, you can do that. And maybe you want to separate your feet and just feel your Tadasana shape here. Great. Now we're going to just do a little stretch here where we roll the belly towards the floor. Keep the top leg lifted and just roll towards the floor. Don't come all the way to your belly, but reach that top leg back. Come back all the way to the original Tadasana. And now bend your top leg and set your foot somewhere on the inner seam of your lower leg in Vrikasana, tree pose. You could have it down on your calf, or you could have it up in towards the groin, but keep the Tadasana shape in your body. Lower leg, the leg against the floor. Can you gather muscle to bone and get some pressure against your foot? Because that's what we have to do when we stand, right? So let this be really engaging here. Okay, and then we'll release the top foot and take the top foot with our top hand and just get a little front thigh stretch. For 2 full breaths. So basically we're going to toggle back and forth between all of these shapes and find that home base, find the Tadasana. Good. Let's roll to the other side. Find Tadasana. And you might find one side feels a lot easier to access, that shape. So toes are pulled back towards shins. You can lift the top leg so that you're standing in Tadasana. Perhaps you can rest your top hand on your hip, or if you need it for balance, have it in front. But here we are. We've got the back of the heels lined up with the sacrum, lined up with the back of the head. Okay, now with that top leg lifted, you just roll your belly towards the floor. You'll have to use your top hand and then just roll towards the floor and reach that lifted leg back. It's just a nice stretch for the low back, for the glutes. And then we come back. And now bend the top knee and place your top foot in to tree pose, Vrksasana. Engage the bottom leg, pressing muscle to bone, engage the bottom leg and press your top foot into your bottom leg. Find Vrksasana. The bottom leg is in Tadasana, so toes pulled back towards shins. So this very slow, intentional work takes a lot of brain power. Good. For one more full breath. Then we bend through that knee, turn the knee forward, take the top foot and stretch the front of your thigh. Stretch the front of your thigh. Very good. Now from here, just let that top leg go and now roll into your belly. And you find Tadasana on your belly. Tops of the feet could be into the floor. But see if you can find a sense of that Tadasana shape on your belly. Then bring hands to low ribs, press yourself up, come on to hands and knees, and then bring your hips back over your heels. All right, nice to have a block here for sitting, one or two, and we'll go into Virasana. So the block in this orientation between, or two blocks between the ankles. And now sitting, from my pelvis up, I'm in Tadasana shape. All right, so ears lined up over shoulders, neutral pelvis, reach the hands down towards the floor. Great. Then we can inhale, sweep one arm up and take a little side bend. And exhale, release back down. Inhale, opposite arm up and over. And exhale back down. Now, as we start to add movement, notice, I'm just going to turn my orientation here. You can keep going. Notice if you break that Tadasana shape. So we're inhaling, we're just doing a little side lateral movement. But as we go back and forth, we want to keep the Tadasana shape in our body. So that is ears lined up over shoulders. We've got the nice neutral pelvis, and we've got a neutral spine alignment. So as we go back and forth, we don't round in the back, we don't hunch over. Good. Take one more. And then you can set your blocks to the top of your mat. And you can rest your hips on your heels for a minute. Bring your hands forward. Bring your knees underneath your hips and come into table. Upper body from the back of my head to my pelvis is in the Tadasana shape. Take a few rounds of cat-cow. We come out of the shape both directions. We come out of the Tadasana shape, but it's in the middle, right? It's sort of in the middle. It's on the journey from cat to cow. Great, then come to neutral, a neutral spine, and then press your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, reach your arms up, stand up on your knees. Take a few minutes if you need to pat underneath your knees. Get your blanket, whatever you need, and then everybody with arms down to sides, find Tadasana with these very short legs. So ears are over shoulders, pelvis is neutral, spine is long. We've got the natural curves of the spine happening. Great, blocks to the front of your mat. All right, put your weight into your left knee and reach your right foot forward. Take your hands to the front of your thigh. From my back leg, my back knee, my back leg is still in Tadasana. Up through my pelvis, up through my skull, I'm in Tadasana shape. Just have this one foot forward. And then I'm gonna come into the lunge, keeping the Tadasana shape in my upper body. Keep the pelvic floor lifted as you're forward. And then set yourself back up to the 90-90. Release your right knee back to the floor. And take your weight into your right knee and shift your left foot forward. Hands to the front of your thigh. Find that Tadasana shape. Coming forward into the low lunge. Keeping the Tadasana shape. Ears lined up over shoulders. Shoulder blades on the back and slightly down and in. Natural curves of the spine. Good. Press yourself back up. Both knees to the floor. Hands down to your sides, palms forward. Find Tadasana once again. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, let hands float through center. We'll do this a few times and notice if you can keep the shape of Tadasana as you add a little movement. Great. Then the next time your hands come down to your sides, find that Tadasana shape again, the blueprint. Take your weight into your left knee and balancing on the left knee, bring the right foot forward. Take hands to the front of your thigh. Okay, now you should have your blocks to the front of your mat here. Come down into the low lunge. Find your two blocks at any height. At any height, turn the back toes under. Press into a low lunge with the back leg lifted. We've got Tadasana from the back heel all the way through to the back of the skull. Then straighten the front leg and bring your hips back. Keep the back in that Tadasana shape, the back body. So we're in a pyramid shape with the legs, but we still have Tadasana through the torso. And then move back and forth with that. So inhale to come forward, front knee comes forward, and you come into the lunge, and then exhale, you bring your hips back. All right, just move back and forth with that, kind of slowly, feeling how as you change the shape, you keep that home base of Tadasana really, really online, really there, right? Okay, we'll make it a little bit more fierce. So the next time you're forward, hands are on the blocks, shift your hands to your thigh. You might just stay right here, find that Tadasana shape. If it feels okay, inhale, sweep the arms up, come into crescent lunge. Lifting the back hamstring, reaching the fingertips towards the ceiling. Then everybody will exhale down to the blocks and step your right foot back so that you're in plank with your hands on the blocks. Body in Tadasana. I have the same Tadasana shape through my body. You drop your knees if it's too much on the wrist or hands, and you still find that Tadasana shape. Good, and then everybody drop your knees. Bring your hips back towards your heels. Keep the arms straight. Good, then inhale, stand up on your knees, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Ooh, Tadasana on your short little legs. Very nice, everybody. Then we take the weight into the right knee and bring the left knee forward. We'll bring our hands to the blocks. Turn the back toes under. Come into this lunge shape. Upper body has the Tadasana blueprint. And then as we straighten through the front leg and reach our hips back, we keep the upper body in that Tadasana shape. And we move back and forth with this per your capacity. As you move slowly from one shape to the other, think about keeping that Tadasana shape. Shoulder blades in the back, in and on the back. Then the next time you're forward, hands on the blocks, bring your hands to your thigh. Find that high lunge, maybe inhaling and coming up into crescent lunge with the arms extended up overhead. You decide. Keep low ribs in, upper body's in the Tadasana shape. Beautiful, everybody. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling. Then exhale, hands down to the blocks. Step your left foot back. Find high Dandasana. Find your high Dandasana. Knees to the floor is perfectly fine as well. And then everyone knees to the floor. Reach your hips back towards your heels. Keep the arms lengthening out. And come into a version, a modification of child's pose. Next, inhale, sweep your arms up, come up onto your knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center, and right back to Tadasana. Palms forward. Ears over shoulders. Shoulder blades on the back. Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Great. Now, next we're gonna, you could use the blocks if you want to. I'm gonna choose not to use the blocks. We're gonna come to the side plank from plank. Knees is always an option as well. But let's start in table. Take a few rounds of cat-cow without thinking too much about anything, just to counter what we've been doing a bit. And then reach the hands forward. Hands forward. You can turn toes under and press yourself into high plank here. Okay, and then options will be Turn the heels to the left, press up into side plank. This is a Tadasana shape. We're just on our side body. Now you can take the lower knee to the floor, or the closer knee to the floor, and you still are working that Tadasana shape. Or you can have both feet extended, both legs extended, lift the hips in side plank. We'll come back to center, turn toes back, come to high plank, drop knees to the floor, reach the hips back. Inhale, slide into cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Upper body has the Tadasana shape. Inhale, drop your knees, come into cow. Exhale, round through your back here to come back towards the child's pose. Inhale as you draw the pelvis into a forward tilt, come into cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. So when we come from cow to downward dog, we tend to keep that nice shape in the back body for downward dog, which is a little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis. From your downward dog, come forward into high plank. Turn heels to the right, weight into your right hand, and spin to side plank, other side. Now you can take the leg that's closest to the ground, take your knee to the floor, and you're still working, finding that Tadasana shape inside plank. Then everyone spin left hand to the floor, back to high plank, drop knees to the floor, hips back towards the heels in a child's pose. Inhale, come to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Great, now walk your feet up towards your hands and drop your hips back. Lift your hands and reach them forward and keep your upper body in the Tadasana shape. Good, inhale, press up, stand up, reach up. Exhale, hands come through heart center and come into Tadasana standing. Come into Tadasana standing. Okay, so palms forward, ears lined up over shoulders, shoulder blades slightly on the back, pelvis is neutral. Just rock back and forth on your feet, toes to heels, until you can find the middle ground. And then when you find the middle ground, just relax in your Tadasana. Great. Now, grab a block. Take it in a long position and set it between your ankles. Press big toe mounds into the floor. Spread toes wide. Spread toes wide. Feel weight, equal weight on the metatarsal arch, the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound, and the heels. Feel equal weight front to back. Now lift your skin of the inner arch away from the block. And feel how that engages your lower legs. Relax it. Try it again. So we've got equal weight on the metatarsal arch, big toe mound to pinky toe mound, heels. And we're going to start by squeezing the block. Then we're going to lift the skin away, to draw the skin away from the block. And you should feel some lift in your inner arches and some action in the lower legs. Okay, release that. Take your block up to between your upper inner thighs. And I've got it on the narrowest setting here. Line your feet up parallel to one another. Squeeze the block between your legs. See if you can get some of that lift from squeezing the block between your legs. Lift your inner arches. Come into Tadasana right here. I'll waddle around here so you can see. So ears lined up over shoulders. Shoulder blades down and in. Legs are active. Keep the block here. Bend through your knees and bring your hands to the floor. It's a little bit challenging with the block, but make your way into downward facing dog, squeezing the block. Squeeze the block. So the old Pez candy dispensers, right? I used to use this cue a lot. It's like you're trying to push the block out behind you. You're trying to squeeze it and push it out behind you. Like that Pez candy dispenser. So find your nice Tadasana shape here in your downward facing dog. Upper body in Tadasana. Great. Keep squeezing the block and come forward into high plank. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the block. Press through your heels. Press back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet, waddle your feet up towards your hands towards your feet. Bend through your knees, set your hips back. Utkatasana. Squeeze the block. And then inhale, sweep up, stand up. You still got the block between your thighs. And then release everything. Arms to the sides. You can take the block out. Come to Tadasana. Beautiful. Now, line up with the long edge of your mat. Take your stance nice and wide. Upper body is in Tadasana. We just have the legs wide. Upper body's in Tadasana. Turn the right foot out. So the toes, the outside of your foot lines up with the outside edge of your mat. Turn your back heel out. And then just bend and extend through the front leg. Just a little vinyasa. Can you keep your upper body in the Tadasana shape while you slowly work your way down into warrior two legs? What's happening in the back foot? Keep the back heel engaged as you bend through the front knee. And then arms out, warrior two. The upper body has a nice Tadasana shape. We've got equal weight on the back and front foot. Turn your palms up to receive the pose. Then reach forward with the front hand. Bring your forearm to your thigh, back hand to your hip. It's like I'm on a tilted Tadasana now. From my back heel all the way through my skull. There's the Tadasana blueprint. Keep the chest open towards me. Beautiful. Back hand on your hip. Now notice if you have your head forward, bring your head back in space. And then we'll slowly extend the front leg, and the hand just lands either against the shin, against the thigh, or against the ankle in Trikonasana. Let's take the top hand right behind your head and sort of lean back into your hand. That's really, it feels like it's a lot, but that's really the ears lined up over the shoulders. The back of the head is lined up with the back, with the sacrum, right? And then you can bring your hand back to your hip. Beautiful, everybody. This, you've got the Tadasana shape, just with the legs in a little different orientation. Next, inhale, bend through your front knee. Come into warrior two. Take your time. Next, inhale, press and straighten the front leg. Turn both feet to be parallel to one another, arms overhead. Exhale, release your arms down. You're in Tadasana with the feet, legs wide. So if you're in Tuesday's class now, you can jump the feet together or heel toe a little bit and then jump the feet together and bounce it out. Bounce it out, ninja feet. Just get a little, we've been holding a lot of poses, just shake it out. And then we'll take the other side. So line up with the long edge of the mat again. We'll turn the left foot out. Look at the orientation of your foot. Outer foot lines up with the long edge of your mat. Turn your right heel out. And then just work your way into the warrior two legs. So vinyasa, the hands on the hips. Think about same time you press into the back heel as you bend the front knee. Press into the back heel as you bend the front knee and then find warrior two. Tadasana shape, upper body, this back heel all the way up through. Take a couple breaths in your warrior two. Turn the palms up to receive the pose. Then reach forward. Bring your forearm to your thigh in extended side angle. Can you see in your mind's eye, you've got Tadasana from the back heel all the way up through your upper body. You could reach the top arm up over if you wanted to, or leave it on your hip. Beautiful Tadasana shape in this pose. Take the hand to the back of the head here, and just press your head into your hand. That'll line the back of your head up with your sacrum. When you're ready to transition to Trikonasana, take your top hand to your hip, straighten through the front leg, keeping your torso twisted or rotated towards the camera, and then the front hand comes wherever you can keep that facilitation, right? Wherever you can keep that Tadasana shape. Take your hand to the back of your head again. I really like this to keep the back of the head lined up with the sacrum. It feels pretty supportive. So make sure that the hand, front hand, or the lower hand, as it turns out when we tip, is connected to something. Shin, thigh, ankle, or block. Doesn't matter. But don't let it hang in space. Beautiful. Then we take hand back to hip if you've got it extended, bend through the front knee as you come back through warrior two. Yeah, find that Tadasana shape with your upper body. And then as you inhale, next inhale, turn both legs, turn the feet, arms above your head, exhale through your center body, through the heart center, and release your hands down. Tadasana. Beautiful. Then you can heel toe the feet together or jump, get the ninja feet, do some bouncing just to counter the long holds before we go to standing balancing. Okay. Find Tadasana. Home base. Home base. Ears over shoulders. Shoulder blades in. Neutral pelvis. Neutral line through the spine. Eyes forward. Maybe slightly down. And then put your weight into your left foot. Right foot can just touch on top of the left foot. So we are in Tadasana shape in our tree pose, in Vrksasana. We pull the hip in. The standing leg is the one Tadasana leg. The upper body's in Tadasana. If you want to go for the calf, you can go for the calf. And if you want to go for the upper thigh, I would suggest bringing your leg into a standing 4, externally rotating the leg first, then taking that foot to the inner seam of your leg. Think about how we did this on our back or on our side body. Pull the standing leg nice and strong. Tadasana. And release. Do a little bounce. Ninja feet. Shake it out. Walk around your space. We'll try the other side. Find Tadasana first. Spread the toes wide. Big toe mound. Press it into the floor. Lift the inner arch. Feel that same action that when we were squeezing the block, but you just have one leg. But it's still the same action, but you just have one leg as you're standing, like the other foot on top of foot into the calf or into your inner thigh. Press the two together, just like you were squeezing the block. Find Tadasana. Release. Bend your feet, shake it out, walk around your space. And then we'll meet at the top of the mat in Tadasana. Let's have our blocks set up at the top of the mat. We'll do a little flow and then we'll make our way back to the floor. So blocks to the top of the mat. Tadasana. You can find it in any way. Feel for the squeezing between your legs. Feel the rocking back and forth of your feet. And then inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Take your hands all the way to the floor and step or jump back to downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward, knees to the floor, cow. Exhale, round and set your hips back towards child's pose. Inhale, come back up to cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, set your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg out behind you. And exhale, sweep it, walk it, move it in 2 steps, bring it forward between your hands, taking your hands to the blocks. find a low lunge with the upper body in Tadasana. Take one round of breath here. Then press the front leg straight, finding pyramid. Step both feet together in a forward fold. Press into your feet as you sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center, reaching palms forward, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold. Take your hands all the way to the mat, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come to your knees and cow. Exhale, round and press your hips back towards child's pose. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg out. So we're still in Tadasana, friends, right? Inhale the left leg out. And then exhale, round your back now. Bring your knee towards your chest and come 1 or 2 steps. Come to forward on your hands on the blocks in a low lunge. And then straighten the front leg, come into a pyramid shape. And back into the lunge. And then step both feet forward, forward fold. Move your blocks out of the way here. Press into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Arms down to your sides, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, bend through your knees and fold. Take hands to the mat, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Find Tadasana shape. Inhale, drop your knees to the floor, cow. And exhale, bring your hips back towards your heels. Arms extended out in front towards a child's pose. And then from this child's pose, we just slip one arm underneath the other and come to our backs. It's about as graceful as I can do it. Now, on your back body, keep your knees bent. Let your knees softly move back and forth in the windshield wiper motion. Here we go. Beautiful, everybody. So we're in the winding down phase now, and you can take that really intentional thinking about the shape and just let it go and just let your body be a little bit more organic. Let's hold the knees to the right, either just leaving them in the kind of the way that they land or stacking left knee on top of right and right hand on the outside of the left leg in a twist. Now really, my upper body even here is in a Tadasana shape. Got the blueprint. Right, then we'll inhale that top leg up, come back to sort of a neutral position. Windshield wiper a few more times before we go to the other side. So we'll drop our knees to the left. You can just drop them and stay right there, or you could stack your right knee on top of your left for a little deeper twist. Left hand to the top of the right thigh. And you might even take your right hand and kind of feel your shape of your back. It's the Tadasana blueprint. Next inhale, sweep the top leg up. Come back to finding that neutral position. Just a few more side to side, easy side to side movements. Don't let your knees go all the way to the floor here. And then bring yourself into a position of comfort. The soles of the feet on the floor, fingertips can just reach your heels, and take a few cascading bridge movements where you press your hips up as your arms come behind. Lower everything down. Make this nice and slow and juicy. Let it be a moment, a time of just releasing any tension. Sometimes when we have a very intentional, very mindful movement practice like today, you know, our brains get tired. So allow your hands, your body to just flow. Okay. Keep the back of your neck long, everybody. Keep the back of your neck long. So chin is tucked in more than it is tipped up towards the ceiling. Keep the back of your neck long. For the next time you land everything back down, rest the knees together. And just take a couple of head rolls. So moving your head, rolling your head to the right and the left. Back and forth nice and slowly. We're doing a lot of intentional head holding as well. So just let that, your head sort of move back and forth. And then anything else you need, maybe some variation of happy baby, Apanasana, bring the knees in close. I like my forearms underneath my knees. Feels quite nice for me and my back, and then letting my back spread. Just letting my back spread like a puddle of water on my mat. Eventually bringing feet back to the floor, resting knees together, or bringing your legs up onto a piece of furniture, square on the furniture, legs up the wall. But start to settle now back to some Tadasana shape, which allows then us to fall into Shavasana. So you can even start in Tadasana, then let the feet fall out, the legs fall into a little bit of external rotation, the arms fall out to the sides, and find that Shavasana shape. So I encourage you not to skip this part. It's the best part of practice, probably the thing we need the most in our fast moving culture. So allow yourself to come to a full released and supported position, either on the floor, legs up the wall, or legs up on some furniture. Cover up with a blanket if you need. And I'll just guide us through a little bit of relaxation. So allow your legs to be heavy, heavy, heavy. Like you had some sandbags on your legs. And feel for a heaviness actually right at the hip flexor, as if you had some weight right on that area where the hip, the femur comes into the pelvis. Let that area be really heavy. Feel your whole back body touching the floor. The natural curve of your spine, and let go of any tension in your back. Let your arms be heavy. Soften your hands from the inside out. Let your ears just really relax down to the floor. Let everything just drop to the floor. Notice any pursing around your eyes. And see if you can let go of that pursing. Any pursing between the brow. Let that go. If you feel any clenching in your jaw, release that clenching. So teeth are not touching. Lips just barely touching. So there's no pursing around the mouth. And then just watch your breath. Be the witness. Be the witness. And bringing one hand to your heart space. Looking inside and seeing the gold. Seeing the gold that's underneath. Gratitude for anyone who makes your practice possible. And may we help others to find that gold as well as we live our yoga. Namaste.